Hello beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. I'm Maya, a Colombo Australian woman living in Melbourne, really in love with books and using books to forget about what's currently happening in my life. Alright, I don't know if you have watched any other videos of my channel, but my last video was all about how a tribute to my mom who passed away a couple of weeks ago, and that's why I've been quite so quiet. But apart from that and dealing with that back in Colombia, I've been reading, because for me reading is really important. Reading is my escape from reality, and it has really helped me during this horrible month, the horrible month that was January. And I want to share with you today what I read in January. I read 17 books. I'm gonna go through them quite quickly. Like, I know my mom would have wanted me to stop making videos and being creative, just because she's no longer physically in this world. I know that she's here with me. She's always with me, and I have to take that strength, and she was my biggest fan, so I need to continue with my creativity and my project and my goal to make this a big channel for me to share my bookish thoughts, but also to make friends, bookish friends, and continue reading all my books. So the first book that I want to mention today is a book that was published last year, and I don't know why, and this is gonna be kind of weird, but I don't know why I was so attracted to this book. And it's from an American author. We didn't have it here in Australia, and I was just obsessed with getting this book until finally in late November it was available in Amazon Prime, and I finally got it on the 30th of December, and I was so happy about reading this book. It's a memoir, and it's by Tyler Feather, and it's Dancing at the Pity Party. Look, I hadn't lost any of my parents when I ordered this book. I don't know why I was so obsessed with getting this book in my hands. Now I think it was the universe trying to prepare myself for what was coming in a few weeks. But this is a book about grief, about how Tyler Feather lost her mom when she was 18, and everything that she went through, but also she introduces her mom, and she does it in a very, very sweet, beautiful way. And actually that was my inspiration. This book was my inspiration for the video that I published about my mom, which is the video that I was mentioned at the beginning of this video. And it talks about grief. It talks about what it means to lose your mom. In her case, she lost it when she was quite young, and she had a younger sister. In my case, I was grateful, and I was lucky enough to have my mom for 33 years. So it's quite not the same, but underneath is just that loss that you cannot put words into it. I cannot explain how I feel, but this comes very close to show what it is to lose someone so close to you, like a parent or a sibling. And I just want to start with this, because not only was the first book that I read this month, but also I think it was the universe or God put this book in my way to prepare myself to what was coming, because I read it and I felt so moved, and it made me wonder, what will I do if my mom passes away? And to be honest, back then when I read this book on the 1st of January, my mom was completely fine. Like, nothing was wrong with her. So it's not like she was sick and I was preparing myself for it. Not at all. So I know this is a curious thing, and it's a sign that God has his ways, and the universe, God, whoever is over us, controlling our lives, fate, I don't know. I'm so happy, I'm so grateful for Tyler to share her story and her mom with us. Alright, and the next book that I read, it was The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. And oh my goodness, this was a 4.5 star. It is a really interesting book. I think it didn't get the 5 star just because I felt it was a little bit too repetitive at the end, but the ending, I was very pleased with the ending, with the way it finishes. But this is about a woman who she's having a very hard time and she kind of wants to kill herself, or she's about to, but then she gets to this limbo between death and life, and it's a library. And in the library there is this woman, like librarian, who explains to her that all the books that she can see in the library, all those books are different versions of her life, depending on if she had taken another decision or made a different decision at certain point. And then we go in to look at everything that she thought she would have done differently and what would have been the outcome of that. It is beautiful. I'm not gonna spoil the message, but I really enjoy this book. I'm very, very keen to read the backlist of Matt Haig, because I think he is very talented and the story was very unique. And yes, so I can't wait to read more. And yes, on 4.5 stars. Then I read Miracle Creek by Angie Kim, and one of my favorite YouTubers and booktubers, April from Getting Haga with Lit. She raved about this book last year, and also about another one that I read today. I read in January, and it is amazing. Look, all these tabs, which would only mean that I was really, really into this book. This is a court type of thriller, so everything starts, we are in court and we are reviewing the events that took place at a facility, a medical facility where 2 people died because of a fire or an explosion that occurred, and they are trying to assess if the mom of one of the kids who died is guilty, or if she got the thing on fire, or if not. But then during the book we go back in time from different perspectives and we learn what happened. And it's one of those books that you don't know how to feel. This one goes into how complex humans are, and it's not like black and white. Things can be gray, and most of the time situations are gray, and most of the time, yes, when something bad happens, it's not necessarily someone who did it, it's just a chain of events that led to that tragedy. So very interesting. Angie Kim she was born in South Korea, but then she grew up in America, the United States. And this book has so many vibes as Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng, that I'm just obsessed. And there are so amazing things to learn about this book. And today I'm gonna share with you one of the quotes that it really stuck with me, and it's amazing. Tragedies don't inoculate you against further tragedies, and misfortune doesn't get sprinkled out in fair proportions, but things get hurled at you in clumps and batches, unmanageable and messy. How true is that? So this one also I gave it 4.5 stars. Then I read Blasphemy by T.G. Klune, and T.G. Klune is the author of The House in the Cerulean Sea, one of the best books that I read last year. And this is a short story, I think, and it's only available online. And it is actually a blasphemy, because it's about how the devil, in one of his days, he's born in hell, and he comes to earth to claim a soul, and he ended up falling in love with the soul that he's about to crush. And it's about their relationship. It is so funny, so witty. If you are a hardcore religious person, I don't recommend you to read this book because it's actually a blasphemy, but I really enjoyed it and I gave it 4 stars. There is a second part now and also available online. I think it's when God goes to heaven for a holiday. No, Jesus goes to hell for a holiday, something like that. I can't wait to read it now in February. The next book I read in January was one that Katie Colson, one of my recent finds on YouTube. She couldn't stop talking about this book and her favorites and all that. And it's I'm Thinking of Ending Things by Ian Reid. This is the Netflix adaptation. This has a Netflix adaptation that I also watch, but it's my opinion that the book is way better than the adaptation. I don't know why they change some things. I don't have an explanation for that, but it doesn't contribute to the story. However, the book, amazing. It's mind fucked. Like, I was glad I didn't remember much of the series of the show when I read this, because the twist, like I think that you have to reread it after you finish it just to get all the things ticked and put together everything that actually is happening in the book without you knowing in the first time that you read it. So I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars, and it's about a young couple that are on a road trip to the boy's parents' house, and she is saying that she's thinking about ending things, but somehow they have been together only a month or a couple of months, and the relationship seems to be going on like it's too serious to be only a couple of months in, and then things at his house are weird. He is weird. Then things happen and you don't understand what's happening. There is some sort of surrealism in the magical realism. I think it's a horror, but I wouldn't call it a horror because it's not like you are scared for your life because of monsters. I think it's more like a suspense kind of book. The next book I read was Romancing the Duke by Tessa Dare, and this is after binge watching Bridgerton on Netflix. Oh my goodness, I didn't know I was so much into that Renaissance romance type of books, and then this was everything that I wanted after watching the show. So Tessa Dare, she's a very famous romance writer, and this book, Romancing the Duke, it was perfect. I gave it 3.5 stars. It's not like a beautiful book, it is just a romance book, very similar to Bridgerton. It gave me what I wanted, which was my courting damsel type of book. I think this is a retelling of The Beauty and the Beast, a quite clever reteller, if I might say so. So yeah, I really recommend it. It's 3.5, but again, this is a romance, so it's not like a book that you learn from. It's just very entertaining, and it just hit the spot that I wanted. The next book was Agatha Christie Period End House, and this is because of I want to read one Agatha Christie book per month. What do I think about this? I think the book, it's okay. I thought that the twist at the end, like the big reveal, we didn't have enough information prior to have guessed it on our own. I think it was just magically like that, and that I didn't enjoy that aspect of the book. But apart from that, I love Poirot. I love how witty Captain Hastings is, and how innocent and how funny Poirot is. I really love Poirot. And after reading it, I actually watched the adaptation, and I think the adaptation does a great job at setting things up slightly better for the twist at the end, for the big reveal, than the book does. So yeah, I gave it, I don't know how much. Yeah, I gave her 3.5 out of 5 stars. Oh, what is it about? It's about this lady who, she's a young woman living, like she lives in her big house called Ant House, and someone is trying to kill her, not only one, not only twice, but also like they have tried to kill her 3 times, like very mysterious accidents. So Poirot and Hastings are trying to figure it out what's going on and who wants to kill her. And that's it. And that's you get. And then Poirot with his little grey cells, he solves the mystery. A very good book that I read this month was When the Past Awakens by Maria Avram and Elena Kidd. And this was very kindly sent to me by the author Elena Kidd. She is the daughter of Maria Avram, and this book is about Maria Avram's life and how she, against every single odd out there, against all odds, she makes a life for herself here in Australia after coming from Cyprus, where she got married to someone that she didn't actually knew, and that person just abandoned her and came to Australia to search for opportunities but never came back for her. And so she decides to come against his wishes and her family wishes. She decides to come to Australia and make her life for herself and start a family. It's a beautiful book. Of course, Elena Kidd is Australian. If you are interested in getting this book, I'm gonna leave the links down in the description box. It is a story about how a woman faced everything just because she wanted to be independent, and she was so advanced to her time. Amazing. Again, thank you, Elena, for the copy. I really enjoyed your mom's story. I think it's beautiful, and I think everyone should, like, more people should know about her. And yeah, I'm grateful to be able to like know her story. Whew. And we get to the only 5-star fiction 5-star book of the month, and it's the other one that was very highly recommended by April from Getting Hung Up With Lit, and is Before We Were Yours by Lisa Wingate. Oh my goodness, what a book. It is beautiful. It's a very complex story. I was mad all the time. Like, I probably should have been reading this book given my situation back in early January, but something about it just called my name, and I just really wanted to read it right away. And it's about the story, it's based on true facts, I mean true events. It's about this adoption agency controlled by Georgia Tan, who is kidnapping kids from low-income families and just sell them or giving them as in adoption to wealthy families in the 30s. I'm gonna say 30s. I don't know, when was this? Yeah, in the 30s. Yeah, 30s, late 30s. And it's about a story of siblings that get separated from their parents, but they were happy. But it's just this woman and her minions were just kidnapping kids and just selling them around like commodities. Oh, I can't believe, like, I mean, it makes you so mad, this book. But at the end, I mean, it's about how strong the love of a family is, and that is a bound that is very hard to break. So it's a beautiful book, but it's a difficult read because it makes you very angry with humanity, and knowing that this happened to so many families, and so many families didn't get a resolution. Just families were broken up, and that was it. And the Georgia Tan actually never paid for her crimes because she died before the sentencing. So okay, anyway, it was a 5-star favorite book of January. Then we have Shiva by Ali Reynolds, and this was very kindly sent by Hachette Publishing, and this is a thriller, and it's They Don't Know What I Did, and I intend to keep it that way. It is really entertaining. I think I gave it 4 out of 5. Yeah, 4 out of 5 stars. It takes place in France, in the Alps, and it's about snowboarding and crimes taken in snowboarding. Is a whodunit type of thriller, very similar to One by One by Ruth Ware, the latest Ruth Ware. It's very similar. It's incredible. And also it's top of the mystery as And Then They Were None. Like, it's a bunch of adults in isolation. They are trapped. They don't know what's happening. People start dropping dead like flies, and you are left wondering what the hell is happening, who the hell is killing, who is the baddie, who is the goodie, and you don't know anything until the end. So I found it really entertaining, especially because it has a lot of snowboarding knowledge, because actually Ali Reynolds is I think she's a medalist, snowboarding medalist, and it comes through beautifully through the book. Like, you read the book and you know that whoever wrote that book, she knows how to snowboard, because it has a lot of technicalities that, yeah, she explains the movements, but I actually had to Google because I actually wanted to see a video of what the characters were trying to do, like pirouettes and movements and jumps and everything. I found it very entertaining. So this was published late January, so it's already out in the market. It's available everywhere, US, UK, all the covers are different. And then thank you so much for to Hachette for giving me a free copy in exchange of an honest review, which this was an honest review. Then I finally read The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas. I started this book ages ago, like when it came out, like 2017 I think it came out. I love this book. It was a strong 4.5 stars. I already have the other 2 books of her and on my TBR to be read, and it's incredible. I was reading it and I couldn't stop thinking about George Floyd and everything that was happening in America just last year, and I was like, oh my goodness, was Angie Thomas, did she have like a look in the future and visionary? But sadly it's not. Sadly, the reality is that George Floyd, everything that happened with George Floyd and the other black people who were killed by police brutality last year, that's not new. That's just a recurring event, and this book is based on that notion that that's just things of like events of the everyday life in America, and sadly we as a white people don't get to see it unless it gets to the news, which rarely does, and it just gives you a glimpse of what black people go through, the fear, how they have to cope with everything, and how unjust people, the media, the justice is, because it's very unjust. Really highly recommend it. I mean, of course, you know, this book has been everywhere. It is worth all the hype. Angie Thomas, amazing writer, and I can't wait to read more from all the other 2 books. And finally, the last book that I read this month was actually an audiobook, and it was Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey. Oh, what a refreshing, beautiful memoir. I listened to the audiobook and it was the best of the best, because it's narrated by Matthew himself, and you know, his voice, he has a very particular voice. His intonation, his chirpiness, it just comes through your ears, and it's engaging. It tells about it. So the book is not much about his life in a Hollywood sense. It's more about his life before Hollywood, his early years, how he spent a year in Australia. I didn't have any idea about that, and he's funny, but also like you get to understand why don't see much of his private life online or in the news. He's a very private person, and he tells about that, about his wife, his kids, his parents, his family, things that happened, how he got to be in the rom-com scene in Hollywood, but also how he reinvented himself to play actor, like more serious roles, not only comedy and romance, but serious drama roles, which wasn't easy for him, and highly recommend it. So yeah, but the audiobook, you need to do the audiobook because you need to hear the words alright. Okay guys, that's everything for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you join the family, the YouTube family, and also follow me on socials. I will leave them there down in the description box, but also at the end in the end screen. Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe and see you soon. Bye.